Exodus 14. I encourage you to read this and just meditate on it. Think about it. To me, the most significant word in Exodus 14 is in verse 2, and it's the word turn. Because if you look on a map, you can see clearly that from Egypt to where Jerusalem is, that's at best maybe what, 2 weeks worth of walking, all right? Maybe a little bit more. But God had them to turn. They could have gone in that direction, but God said no. Have them turn and go camp before Pi-hahiroth, between Migdol and the sea, over against Baal-zephon. Before it ye shall encamp by the sea. God said, I want them over here on the beach of the Red Sea. Then he went and hardened Pharaoh's heart, and Pharaoh's thinking in his mind, I'm an idiot. Why did I let these people go? Why am I so weak? So he vows now he's going to go over there and kill the Israelites. Not take them back as slaves. He's going to kill them. He's had enough. So he goes over. God literally drags Pharaoh and his 600 chariots and his horsemen and his army and brings them over there. 600. Think of that number in relation to something in Revelation. Okay, 600, 666. So here's Pharaoh, and he's the guy with the snake coming out of his forehead. That's his little mark, all right? That's who rules over him. And brings him over there, and here's Israel. Here's the Red Sea. Here's Pharaoh, and they have no place to go. They can't run. They cannot escape. They cannot hide. They cannot, listen to me now, they can't do anything. That is exactly where God wants us. He wants us in a position where we can do nothing. Why? So that he could show to us that he has already done it. It's already finished, people. Don't fall into what people will tell you on the internet about you must do this, or you've got to do this, or how come you're not doing this like we are doing this. Don't fall for it. God will lead you into a trap to where you will be forced to believe and trust in him. He does not leave it up to us to figure it out. He brings us to a place and he says, now what are you going to do? And God's done that with me. Mike, what are you going to do now? You're in a place where if you don't trust in me, if you don't call on me, you're going to be ruined. You're going to be destroyed. And God led me to that place. Then he brought me across the sea. All right? And that was one of the ways that God was leading me to this book. He was driving me to it. He had Pharaoh, my enemy, pushing me, driving me. That's the setup here. And so you know the story that once Israel is across, Pharaoh's in the Red Sea, God collapses the walls of the sea and it drowns Pharaoh and all of his chariots and all of his horsemen and so on. So now the Israelites are watching this and Moses sees this and God wants them to see this. And so then Moses begins to sing a song. In Exodus 15, verse 1, then sang Moses and the children of Israel this song unto the Lord, and spake, saying, I will sing unto the Lord, for he hath triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider hath he thrown into the sea. Think about where the pigs ended up. When the legion wanted to be, when they were cast out, they wanted to be cast into those swine, those unclean animals, down into the sea. Think of, what was I just thinking of here? The horse and his rider. Think of Revelation 6. There's not just 4 horses. There's the men along with those horses, the riders and the horses, and they represent the judgment of God. He has taken those things and he's thrown them into the sea. Where is our sin? He cast it into the depths of the sea. It's not coming back on us. It's gone. Mormon doctrine, Finis Dake, and there may be others who will try to tell you that, yes, God will forgive your sin unless you go out and commit it again. If you commit it again, then the sin that you did before that was forgiven, God digs it back up and puts it back in your account again. That's a lie, people. It's a lie. Don't fall for that stuff, all right? That he hath thrown the horse and his rider into the sea. Verse 2, the Lord is my strength and song, and he has become my salvation. This, and you're going to hear me say it a bunch of times, not by our works or our deeds or our strength. God didn't pick me because I was strong in certain areas. He picked me because I was weak and couldn't do for myself, still can't. I have to trust and depend on the Lord just like everybody else has to. And I'm telling you, God is my strength. Without Him, I have no strength whatsoever. The Lord is my strength and song, and has become my salvation. He is my God, and I will prepare Him an habitation. That's this right here. Open up your heart and let God come and live in your life. And my Father's God, and I will exalt Him. Verse 3, the Lord is a pacifist. He's a beatnik peace. No, He's not. He's a man of war. The Lord is His name. There's a couple things right there. Number one, God is a God of war. He fights battles, and He will lead His people into fighting battles. And we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, powers, rulers of darkness, spiritual wickedness in high places. That's who we're going up against. And God is a man of war, and the Lord is His name. Trust this book. Trust this book. Because if we can't have trust in what this book says, then you're going to be led astray. The waters were gathered together, the flood stood upright as an heap, and the depths were congealed in the heart of the sea. And so watch this. The way that God is making for your escape is right here. This is what God will use to provide your salvation and your means of escape. All of this, it just becomes so real when you look at it that way. And then verse 9, the enemy said, I will pursue, I will overtake, I will divide the spoil, my lust shall be satisfied upon them, I will draw my sword, my hand shall destroy them. I will, I will, I will, I will. 4 times he says, I will in here, all right? I will, I will, I will. I will draw my sword, my hand shall destroy them. That's what the enemy says against you. He's going to pursue you. He's going to chase you around. This is why in this lifetime, you'll never outrun the devil. He's going to keep coming after you. You're not going to run so great a distance away that he's going to say, I need to quit smoking. I can't keep up. He's not going to do that. He's going to pursue you. He's going to overtake you. He's going to divide the spoil. My lust shall be satisfied upon them. I will draw my sword. My hand will destroy them. And God says, oh, no, you won't. These are mine. You can't have my people. I'm not going to let you do it. You're God. God did not tell Israel in the midst of the Red Sea to turn around, draw the swords, and try to fight Pharaoh off as much as they could. He didn't tell them that. He's told them, here, just walk. Walk toward me, and I'll take care of it. That is God's way. That's how He works. Verse 10, thou didst blow with thy wind, the sea covered them. They sank as lead in the mighty waters. Who is like unto thee, O Lord, among the gods? Who is like thee, glorious in holiness, fearful in praises, doing wonders? Thou stretchest out thy right hand, the earth, here's the right hand again. And who is at the right hand? Jesus. The earth swallowed them. That's what happened in Genesis chapter 4. The earth opened her mouth to receive Abel's blood. We also have a story later on I think it was the gainsaying of Korah, where Moses said, well, maybe if God does a new thing, like, where you're standing, the earth just opens up and swallows you whole, then maybe you'll understand that this is God. And what happened? The earth opened her mouth and swallowed up everybody that was along with Korah there, and just swallowed up and closed her mouth again, and everybody's going, yeah, Moses, we're for you, Moses. 100%. We're right there with you. Did you see that? Okay. Oh, man, I love it. See, when God finally is going to take care of your enemies, when they're swallowed up, they're gone. It's over with, people. Let's see here. Verse 13. Thou in thy mercy hast led forth the people, which thou hast redeemed. He bought them back. Thou hast guided them in thy strength unto thy holy habitation. He's leading us to where he lives and where he dwells. Brought Israel into Palestine, made all of the inhabitants afraid, and God gave them the victory there. Verse 15, the dukes of Edom shall be amazed. Edom is Esau. The mighty men of Moab, trembling, shall take hold upon them. All the inhabitants of Canaan shall melt away. Now look at verses 14 and 15 together. You have the inhabitants of Palestina, the dukes of Edom, the mighty men of Moab, and the inhabitants of Canaan. 1, 2, 3, 4. What are we talking about here? Principalities, powers, rulers of darkness, spiritual wickedness in high places. God is going to deliver them into your hand. God is going to bring them down. They're hearing about God's people coming. And God put a spirit of fear in them and in trembling. When the people of Jericho heard the Israelites were coming, they passed the word around. It got around the city. Rahab the harlot knew what was coming. That's why she asked for salvation. And everybody else in Jericho passed away. They were trusting in their walls. And God took them down. And all of a sudden, from that, and God did that at that first battle into the promised land. And the word spread. And all of a sudden now, kings are hearing of what happened when the Israelites came with their Ark of the Covenant and their God, the Lord. I love it. Verse 16, fear and dread shall fall upon them, just like beasts or animals. When they see a man, immediately they have fear. If they think that they are too close to the man, it is fear that drives them to enlarge themselves. Just like a cat or a dog or a bear or a serpent will flare his neck out like that. Any other kind of animal, they will flare themselves up, build themselves up in order to try to scare you. Dogs will show you their teeth, all right? They're trying to scare you away because they are scared of you. God put fear into their hearts. This is why the devil's tactics against you, this is why he's doing what he's doing. He's doing it because he is afraid of the one that is in you. Greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. And these devils know this. And fear and dread is on them. And it will either cause them to retreat or it will cause them to try to enlarge themselves to stand and fight. When Sennacherib came against Jerusalem in the days of Isaiah, and he tried to enlarge himself to all the people there in Jerusalem. He said, all these other cities have I conquered. They prayed to their gods. I'm telling you, their gods could not help them, and your God will not save you. It's a lie. It's an absolute lie. Your God will save you. He can save you. He's just afraid. He wants you to give up without a fight. Verse 16 again. Fear and dread shall fall upon them by the greatness of thine arm. They shall be as still as a stone, till thy people pass over, O Lord, till the people pass over which thou hast purchased. The Israel watched as they were walking out. Pharaoh, God was holding them back, and it's like they couldn't do anything until God released them. Then they came in. It was all about the right time. Let's see here. Verse 17. Thou shalt bring them in, and plant them in the mountain of thine inheritance, in the place, O Lord, which thou hast made for thee to dwell in the sanctuary, O Lord, which thy hands have established. The Lord shall reign forever and ever. That's also in Revelation. He shall reign forever and ever. That's part of Handel's Messiah, the Hallelujah chorus, all right? The Lord shall reign forever and ever. For the horse of Pharaoh went in with his chariots and with his horsemen into the sea. When you ever see horses and chariots and horsemen, Revelation 9, and the description of the evil army that comes up out of the bottomless pit, horses and chariots and the faces of men and the hair of women, that's what they look like. This is a foreshadowing of what's going to happen to them. God is going to release them out. They're going to do what he wants them to do, and then he's going to cast them into the lake of fire. In verse 22, so after this song, and just think about this. Here's the Israelites, and they cry unto God. God saves them with the most miraculous thing that anybody has ever seen, and that story is what spread abroad throughout all of Canaan land, was that God opened up the Red Sea, and then God closed it on Pharaoh, and everybody's hearing about this now. God done this great miracle for them, and so typical of human nature. We see God do these fantastic, wonderful things, and then like the next day we're going, God hates me. He's not going to do anything for me. Look at this. Verse 22. So Moses brought Israel from the Red Sea, and they went out into the wilderness of Shur, and they went 3 days in the wilderness and found no water. And when they came to Marah, they could not drink of the waters of Marah, for they were bitter. Therefore the name of it was called Marah, or Marah, I think it's Marah. And the people murmured against Moses, saying, what shall we drink? And if you just think about it, the people have needs. There's a lot of people here, maybe 1 million people. There's a lot of people that Moses is leading through the wilderness. And 3 days without water takes its toll. It takes its toll on us and our demeanor and our attitude. And we just start thinking, God lead us out here to die? Did he lead us out here to and I have asked God that question. God, did you just lead me out to this place here just to do me in? I've asked God that question. Of course, the answer was, oh, Mike, come on. And then God always brought me through that. But we get weak like this, don't we? We think God's failed us, or God's not going to do anything for us anymore. We do murmur. We complain. What shall we drink? Verse 25, and he cried unto the Lord, and the Lord showed him a tree. I love this. Therefore he shall be like a tree, planted by the rivers of living water. He shall bring forth his fruit in his season. I think that's Christ. It's a picture of Christ. The Lord showed him a tree, which when he had cast into the waters were made sweet. That's what God did for them. Remember, it was the tree that did it. Your life is bitter water. Your sin causes bitterness. The things that you have had to go through in life are very bitter. I've got bitter memories. I've had bitter interactions with people. I've had people do me wrong. I have done people wrong, and I have to live with the bitterness of how I hurt people in the past. I have to live with that. The only thing that makes my life worth living is that the tree has now made the waters sweet for me to drink. And that tree is Christ. And you can think of that tree as Calvary and what Christ did for you. He took all the things that were bitter against us, and he's made them sweet now. And only God can do that.